Please welcome to the stage Pittsburgh's and Crooked's own Damon Young. It's time for a game we're calling the Nobel Prize of Posting. Here's the deal. The Nobel Committee has already named several winners, including a group of physicists for their work on quantum entanglement. The institution has yet to catch up on the art, the science, the craft of posting. So Damon and I are going to take it upon ourselves to bestow the Nobel Prize of Posting for just this week. Are you ready? So we're going to look at a few and we're going to decide which one of we think deserves this week's Nobel Prize for Posting. Let's first start with Elon Musk's tweet on his own personal plan with a fucking vote to bring peace to Ukraine and Russia. He has a whole plan. He wants to redo elections. He wants to do a vote. He's got a thing about Crimea. What do you think?
I'm waiting for this motherfucker to go to space and just stay. That's what I think. I mean, he's been building this spaceship.
Yeah, get on the spaceship.
For a decade. Just go and stay.
I just also think, first of all, the reason I don't believe this deserves a Nobel Prize for Posting is because this is just classic, historically classic, arrogant, surrounded by yes people, billionaire stuff, which is that like, I got it. I got this thorny, diplomatic, international, complicated situation. I read the Wikipedia. People seem to nod when I say things. So I'm not giving it to this. Also, I think it's funny that this is a tweet he's tweeting in a week in which no one at Twitter wants him to buy Twitter. He doesn't want to buy Twitter, but God damn it, he's going to have to.
Yeah, I'm convinced that Elon Musk and Kanye West have the same library card. And they read the same books. They have the same book club. So yeah, everything that comes from him could come from Kanye very easily.
By the way, let's just make a little note that Kanye or Elon is a great game we should do in the future because it is genuinely hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
And there is a kind of like a metastasized genius thing that seems to be part of it, which is like, I don't buy into the people who say, oh, Elon Musk isn't smart. He's clearly smart, but there's something that happens when you're good at one thing and that makes you think you're good at everything.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, okay, so if you went to college and like that first semester home, when you came home and you didn't know shit, but you thought you knew everything, that is them. Like that, you haven't done the reading yet. You haven't applied any of the knowledge, but you think you've been exposed to all these concepts. You wrote like one really great paper and got like a B- on it, and you think that you are an expert on every fucking thing, and that's just it's like that. There's that chart that like you have no knowledge and you have no knowledge, then you have a little bit of knowledge and you think you have all the knowledge. Then you go back down the curve and think you don't know anything, and then you slowly approach wisdom. I feel like Elon is like riding the wake of that first peak. He's like on water skis on that wave and just sort of riding around the very top of that first fucking thing. Agreed.
Next up, we have this tweet from Occupy Democrats. I will read it to you. Breaking. New book reveals Donald Trump brutally mocked Rudy Giuliani as fucking disgusting on a plane because the odor after Giuliani used the bathroom was so disgusting that Trump decided to loudly complain. RT, if you're glad you weren't there to experience it. Now, the reason I believe this is worthy of a nomination is because obviously Occupy Democrats is one of the cringiest fucking accounts in human history. And clearly just a kind of grift. But I feel like this tips back over, Like, the U-shaped thing about how at the very, it's like the extremes touch. Like, this is art at the other end.
Yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day. And, right. I definitely see Rudy Giuliani blowing up a bathroom. Like, I mean, he, it could have been him. It could have been the fly. It could have been either.
Everything about this is a great example where some stories have no heroes. This is a story with no villains. You relate to Trump. You relate to Rudy.
Yeah.
You relate to Occupy Democrats. You relate to the plane. You relate to every aspect of this. We could see ourselves in any part of this, mocking it from the outside. Yeah. Being on a plane after Rudy Giuliani absolutely fucking sets off a gastrointestinal fucking IED in the bathroom, you could see yourself being in the bathroom, realizing that you're doing something that everyone on the plane is going to smell. We've all been there.
So who is the audience avatar here?
I honestly, I think it's like almost like
I think it's the book. I think the book is the avatar.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think the book is the audience. I mean, I think it's almost like a like that episode of The Simpsons you see from every perspective. Sometimes you read it, you're in the book. Sometimes you're the. All right, so now that's our next nominee. Next up, Lena Dunham tweeted, "When I go, I want my casket to be driven through the NYC Pride Parade with a plaque that reads, 'She wasn't for everyone, but she was for us. Who can arrange?'" Oh, it's tough. It's a tough one.
Lena is so white. Like she is so aggressively, thoroughly, just diametrically white. Like it is like it's like a new element, like a new level.
Right, like that there's that Vanta black, that's the darkest black. This is the Lena White.
Lena White. Yeah, it's Lena White. It's like like a level below alabaster. It is. I mean, and the thing is, I actually am a fan of her work.
Of course, me too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I am.
Absolutely.
I am a fan of her work, but she just.
I mean, it's look. I mean, I actually think it takes real craft to produce something like this because I don't know that we're having this conversation if there wasn't the who can arrange at the end, because it's first of all it's maudlin. It's like describing your own death. Then it's imagining yourself being in a parade after your death. Then it's also telling people how to see you after you die. And then it's also kind of requesting work, like requesting services. Who can arrange?
Yeah, I think that this is the leader. Easily.
This is the leader? All right. Right now, all right, in the pole position.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the pole position.
Definitely.
All right, finally. Now, this is the final nominee. It is a late entry.
Wow.
It is a photo of Dr. Oz that he tweeted in May of him with a therapy dog named Teddy. And then our boy Jon Fetterman quote tweets it and says, "Has anyone seen this dog since May?"
I wouldn't be surprised if that dog was used for Crudités, which is a word I did not know how to pronounce until he said it. Like I had no idea how to pronounce that word until that clip.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have been calling it crudité until he started calling it crudité.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I think I probably used crudité the way Dr. Oz did, and I don't want to pretend I didn't. I don't want to sit here and look you in the eyes and say like, "Yeah, I can't believe you said crudité." But I'm not running for Senate in Pennsylvania.
I had never heard that word out loud before.
Well, you're a
like
man
literally never.
You're a man of the people.
I'm a Pittsburgher, so we don't say. Yeah, we don't say crudité. We say veggie tray.
Veggie tray.
Veggie tray. All right. A motherfucking crudité. Like what the hell?
There was also like there was a period in my life where I was like, you know what? I need to eat vegetables more. And the hang up for me was always like washing and cutting the vegetables. And then I would just say, you know what? I'm just buying veggie trays for my house to eat alone. And then I would just go to the supermarket and I'd buy the pre-made veggie tray and I would just have it in my fridge and I would eat it till it went brown. Because it was just for me, It's a lonely veggie tray for one.
I feel like
is that too much?
That is, you should, yeah.
But why not? Why can't I just buy a veggie tray and have it in my fridge and eat it just for me sometimes?
I mean, are you a sophomore in college? Because you should go to the produce section and buy actual vegetables
Kendra's laughing.
Individually.
I know that. I know that that's what I should do. Okay, but I'm saying I don't go to the supermarket in the world as I wish it was. I go to the world. I go as it is.
Uh-huh.
And I know that if I buy a pepper and a carrot and whatever else and a big thing of broccoli, that's just garbage in 3 days. I'm getting the hook from producer Brian. All right. So now we need an answer. What do you think? So it's Lena. I would say Lena versus Fetterman.
Yeah. I mean that last one brought the hammer, so we're gonna
So
go with Fetterman. Yeah.
the Nobel Prize for posting, the first one goes to Jon Fetterman for absolutely owning Dr. Oz. All right, Damon's agreed to stick around for an advice segment. So when we come back, we're gonna take some questions from the Pittsburghers. In his podcast, Stuck with Damon Young, Damon takes a deep dive into his own psyche, not to mention that of his guests. But in the Washington Post, he looks outward and doles out advice to the people. So you're in luck. Damon is here to help unpack the mess that is your life in the messy reality that is being alive. So if you need advice, raise your hand. And Kendra, I believe, is out there. Kendra is out there. Kendra is up in the balcony.
I wanna share before we get started that I have literally written 5 advice columns. Like I just started doing
and they're
this.
good.
Thank you.
And they're really good.
I just started doing this in like August.
You did a great job answering my anonymous question.
So again, all I'm saying is that I'm going to conjure every bit of toxic masculinity that I have and say that if my advice makes you do something fucked up, I take no accountability.
No accountability.
For it. Because I am not seasoned at this. I don't know if I'm good at this, but let's go.
And on a fundamental level, is it even possible for a stranger to get advice from a stranger?
I mean, I get it from my barber all the time, but he's not a stranger.
He's not a stranger. So anybody up there want to get some advice? Oh, we have a hand up there. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Linda.
So
we need advice on the spotted lanternfly.
Spotted lanternfly. What's your question?
Damon knows all about it and what to do. We need him to share his advice.
Damon, what's your advice for these invasive spotted lanternflies?
I have some ambivalence about the spotted lanternfly, and so the first time I saw one, and again, if you live in Pittsburgh, you've been inundated with all of this messages about if you see them, you just shoot them in the fucking face, and then you need to report, you need to report on the killing, right, on the murder. And so this has been just shoved down our throats all summer. And so I saw one for the very first time on my stoop. If you've never seen one, it kind of looks like a stink bug, but if a stink bug listened to Beyonce.
Of course.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is the bug I'm supposed to kill, I'm poised to kill it, whatever. And then I'm like, you know what, I'm a Black American. The government is asking me to assassinate a living thing and then snitch on it.
Yeah.
Too.
Right.
So I was like, fuck that. And it's outside. It's not in my house. I'll let it go. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me finish. Let me finish. So like 2 hours later, I'm out, I'm working, I'm at like this restaurant that has like the indoor, outdoor, seating, whatever. And I see another one. And I figured that, I maybe bought some goodwill by not killing that one and maybe communicated to his brethren that, Damon is cool. Don't fuck with him. And so for the next half hour, these motherfuckers were hitting me in the eyeball, diving into my beard, landing in the drink that I had. And so my point is that fuck those motherfuckers. I tried to give them a chance. I tried to give them a pardon. It did not work. And it's on site whenever I see them.
Dead.
Yeah, it's on site.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who else needs some advice from up there? Oh, there's somebody. Hi, what's your name and what do you need some advice about?
My name is Derek, and I was wondering, if you're the political outlier in your family, what's your advice on maybe how to speak to or relate to your parents and siblings in order for them to try to at least consider your point of view?
Oh. What
do you think?
That's a serious one. That's a good one.
Here's...
I haven't... Go ahead.
You go. No, you
go.
No, I want you to take it.
I want you to go first, and then I build off of your answer.
Done.
Okay.
Here's what I think. What's our goal? Is our goal to get 3 specific votes from your fucking right-wing zealot family? Or is our goal to win? And so my view on this is, I think that when you're worried about trying to persuade the people you're closest with to have views that are opposite of what they currently hold, I think sometimes it's a little bit more about our relationships than it is about our politics. And my view on this is, let's say you got a couple Tucker Carlson fans in your family. Let's say there's 2 or 3. Now, you can have an argument with them that gets heated, and then your aunt makes some sort of joke to diffuse the tension, and then you don't talk about it for a couple hours, and then it's a little bit hostile for a while, and then it kind of cools down, and the next day you pretend it never happened. That's an option you can have. It does not make our society a better place, and those people don't come away with a different point of view. Or you can say, you know what? I have these 3 Trump-loving people in my house that I grew up in. They're there right now doing their thing. I can go out, and I can find 5, 6, 7 people who wouldn't have voted. And I can make my job getting those 6 or 7 people who wouldn't have voted to turn out. And so my view would be, don't worry about changing their minds. Worry about overwhelming them at the ballot box. And so my thing is, go out there and outvote them. You don't have to convince them. That's my take.
Okay. So I'm gonna veer a bit from that.
Hell yeah.
And my question is, why can't you do both?
Yeah. And then also Damon's point is, fuck shit up. Thanksgiving's around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you could go out and persuade, whoever to vote and, get everyone to the ballot box. But, and this is a very specific message that I have for white people, is that, there are people who will never, ever, ever, ever listen to what I have to say, right? Regardless of my message, regardless of my platform, they're not going to listen to me. But they might listen to you. They might listen to you at the Thanksgiving table or at the cookout or whatever crucible whiteness that I am not privy to, right? They might listen to you there. And so, I think that those uncomfortable conversations are necessary, because are you just going to just allow them to just be that way and fester forever? Or are you going to confront them and also you could make it like an ultimatum. It's like, if you want to continue to see me, if you want to continue to have this relationship, then your politics have to change. And, that's a part of it that I have a friend, I started a blog, Very Smart Brothers, which, some people here might be familiar with. And my partner with VSB wrote about, he's biracial, his mom is white, and he wrote about cutting off his own mom, because of her political beliefs, because she was a, Make America Great, Trump supporter, all of that. And so I think that's how far if we want like an actual change, that's maybe how far we need to go. I know that is going to be very, very difficult and intense and whatever, to do that with your family and your friends, perhaps. But if you don't, then who will?
Who else has a question?
My question is, how do I convince the white people at my job that I don't give a fuck about the queen?
What's wrong with saying exactly that? We'd start, organize a staff meeting, get a Zoom, get an email.
Yeah, just put it on their calendar.
Yeah, to put it on the calendar.
Everybody lives by their calendar. Just add it to the calendar.
I don't give a fuck. Wear T-shirts, coffee mugs, just this reinforcement over just waves crashing on a beach.
And I just want to say one other thing. I'm so sorry that you feel like you're living in this upside down, cuckoo bananas, fucked up world, that not giving a fuck about a dead billionaire from another country is something you need to explain to people. Shame on everybody who cares. I am so angry about how much coverage this fucking thing got. And then there were these stories that were like, well, she wasn't just a queen. She was also a great grandmother. A lot of great-grandmothers died this week. Nobody gave a fuck. They die all the time. A great-grandmother died during this show. It's not on the Today Show tomorrow.
Well,
Hoda's not talking about it.
it's traumatizing to black and brown people that she's on this pedestal when we know for centuries that she's traumatized
Exactly.
black and brown people. And just the disregard for the feelings of black and brown people in the workplace is sinister to me.
I mean, I feel like you could just say exactly that, and you could give a context. You could talk about imperialism. You could talk about you could talk about all of the stuff that the British Empire, was a part of, and that the Queen oversaw. Like, she wasn't there actually doing stuff, but she's the fucking Queen, right? And so I don't think there's a problem with actually articulating, like, you know what, this is why I don't give a fuck about the Queen. In fact, it's not just I don't give a fuck about the Queen, it's fuck the Queen, right? And again, I think that as long as you give, the facts and the data and whatever, and you don't have to sway people, you could just let people know, like, this is how I feel, and that's that. And the secret is that they don't give a fuck about the Queen either, really.
That's right. That's a good
Like,
point.
no one here
No one
really gives a
cared.
shit
No one gave a
about
shit.
the Queen. It's a thing to talk about, and a thing you could. It's like, I don't know. You're interpreting things, and then you have the whole Meghan Markle thing, and did she kneel the proper way? Like, all of that shit is just a way for people to respond to things that they feel compelled to respond to. But no one at your job really gives no one at your job gives a fuck about the Queen. No one cares. And I think that you could actually shift them from I don't really give a fuck about the Queen to fuck the Queen if you give that data and you give that context for why you're like, you know what, fuck the Queen.
The reason it bothered me so much, too, in addition to the points that you were making, is that it's a larger issue to me than just people pretending or actually caring a lot about the Queen. It's people worshiping kind of institutional authority and only the good parts. Like, the reason this person is being mourned is not because they're a person, it's because they represent this institution. But of course, in death, you're only supposed to talk about the parts that are honoring without acknowledging the parts. If you represent the monarchy, then you represent the whole damn thing. And I do think that, like, there's some kind of, I think some of the same inclination that leads, like, wall-to-wall coverage on CNN and all the news networks of this dead monarch is the same inclination that causes a kind of worshiping and elevating and hyping of the presidency and treating it like more than what it is, which is just a very, very important job. That is not it is a person who does a job, and they are in an institution for good and for ill. And I do think, like, there's a kind of sickness to the kind of worshiping of power that is corrupting.
Yeah. And I think what we also see, and not just with the Queen, but with other prominent public figures who pass, is the performance of grief, where people see other people grieving publicly online, and they feel like, you know what, I also have to perform. I also have to weigh in. I also have to tweet or post something on IG or Facebook or whatever about this to keep up. You know what I mean? To be a part of the community, because again, everyone else is performing, and they're expecting me to perform, so I have to perform too. And again, I think that, and statements like yours, help get to the reality that it is a performance.
Yeah.
Right. That again, these people don't really give a shit about the Queen, but again, you could get the social, I don't know, the social capital of retweeting something very, very obvious about it and get 2,000 retweets, or get, 100,000, retweets, or 20,000 Facebook likes, or whatever. And that itself is the capital. And so people are using this death and using this process of mourning to enhance their own social status, basically.
Yeah, I think that's right. Before we let you go, you've written, as you said, a number of columns for the Post, and I just want to rapid fire get your advice on some of the topics you've already covered.
Okay.
We've already covered killing the spotted lanternfly. You got to yes. Yes or no? Should I get my anti-vax friend's baby vaccinated without them knowing?
Hell the fuck no.
Yeah,
no.
And by the way, shame on all of you. No, you don't secretly give another
don't
person's
kidnap.
baby medicine. Come on.
You don't kidnap.
Use
the
your
baby.
heads.
You will go to prison if you do that.
Should I
No.
date someone who was mean to me in college?
No.
Oh, really? I was a yes on that. I'll date someone who's mean to me now.
Yeah, that was a question where I had to figure out 500 more words to say.
Yeah.
After like no, fuck no. So yeah.
How do I get my cousin to stop saying the R word?
Okay, and does everyone know what the R word is here? Okay, because there were a lot of people in the comments who had no. Like there was a man who emailed me at least 3 times, and the last email said, "This is the last time I'm going to ask you what is the R word." I think language is like water, and by language like water, I don't mean that it's like fluid. I mean that the same substance could hit you like a brick. It could be ice, or it could be just like a breeze, condensation. And words change, connotations of words change, and the R word was a word that was an actual medical term at one point, and then it became an off-color insult. I've definitely said it when I was in middle school and high school, just offhandedly to, call someone dumb or call myself dumb or whatever. And then, as, the culture shifted, then that word has become a slur, right? A word that actually is an R word, one of the few words that people try not to say out loud. And I think that context matters because that is what happens with words, where a thing that might have been cool 20, 25 years ago just isn't now, and that's fine, right? Because that's just how language shifts, and that's how connotation shifts. And the thing is, sometimes the language wasn't even cool 20, 25 years ago. We just have more access and more people who have more platforms to be able to say, you know what, that shit is hurtful. You should not say that. So, yeah, don't say that word. And if there's any other words that you feel like you were able to say 5 or 10 years ago and you can't say, there are hundreds of thousands of words, and just don't say that one. It's that simple. Like that's the part of it that frustrates me, when people are so like demanding to say this word that people are saying don't say. It's like, yo, go to fucking thesaurus.com and plug it in and find a new word. Just do it. I do it all the time. I shouldn't have said that, but I do it all the time when I write. Yeah.
Do it all the time.
I do it all the time.
Rhyme Zone, thesaurus.com.
Mm-hmm.
These are the writers, these are quivers, these are arrows in the writer's quiver. As a person who names many episodes with puns, I go to Rhyme Zone all the time. Rhyme Zone is our secret weapon here at Love It or Leave It. It's unrelated, but it is true. All right, everybody, check out Stuck with Damon Young. Check out Damon's column in the Washington Post. Damon's going to stick around for the rant wheel. When we come back, it's time for the rant wheel.